IACL fans out there, welcome back to another IACL match. Let me move my mic a little bit because I'm pretty sure my mouth is on top of it. But yeah, this time it's been the well-awaited match of me versus the OG partner in crime, Rocking Pancake, otherwise known as Matt Pockets. and anyways, his team, yeah, it's pretty scary. He has a Volcanion, Mega Diancie with Dragonite. And I'm like, gosh, this is such a difficult matchup for me because I don't really have a lot for Mega Diancie, and I don't have a lot for Dragonite once it gets up to +1. So I'm like, okay. Looking at his team, I'm pretty sure he wants to make sure Rocks doesn't get up on the field because he didn't bring his Defogger with Zapdos, and he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner. and so I'm like 100% sure he's going to lead with the Mega Diancie, so he can ensure that I don't get rocks up in the field. So in all reality, I probably should have led with my Bronzong, but I do decide to lead with my Torterra, which just puts more offensive pressure on him, even though Bronzong easily got the force switch. Anyways, if I put this on slow, going a little too fast for my taste. Anyways, I'm going to pause this because this was a really well played match it was a well played match by both me, in my opinion, and by Matt, which I do give props to him too. Before I don't want to spoil anything, but I do highly recommend pay attention because this took a lot of thinking throughout the entire match. Anyways, he goes for Protect, so at this point I'm thinking he doesn't want to switch into his Dragonite to get multi-skill broken, and I'm thinking his Cobalin is 100% defensive to deal with my Mega Beedrill. And I'm going to click EQ here because I felt like Cobalin was just a better play. And I'm not saying I disagree with him switching into Dragonite here, but I just felt like Cobalin was going to be his better switch. So not only do I not get to break this multi-scale on the Dragonite, but I don't even get to touch it. I don't get any damage off. And now I'm put in a spot where I don't have a clean switch into this thing. And at this point, I'm hoping he clicks anything that doesn't hit my Bronzong super hard. So I'm just going to go into my Bronzong because I have Reflect on this thing so I could easily deal with Dragon Dance Dragonite. But you see, he goes for Fire Punch and does 69% to my Bronzong. And I'm like, holy crap, this has to be banded. I go to my calcs and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is 100% banded Dragonite. So I'm like, okay, I guess I don't have to deal with a +1 Dragonite, meaning that my Staraptor will 100% always outspeed the Dragonite, which is always good to know. And my Blaziken will also 100% outspeed it most of the time, but I can't really touch it for the most part. And no, I don't think my Latios. I don't remember how much speed investment I put into my Latios, but as you'll see, it doesn't really matter. But I know he's banded, so I'm gonna go into my Licky, be able to patch a Wish off into something. And I do have Ice Beam on my Licky, so I can break this thing's multi-skill if he was a DD set, but obviously it won't come into play too much. Anyways, he goes for Fire Punch and a non-stat Fire Punch. Does 33% to a max HP, max defense around Jeremy. And I'm like, holy crap, this is so powerful. So now he's going to go into his Volcanion, which, never mind. I'm thinking way too ahead. Anyways, I go for Wish. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into my Blaziken now because I do expect him to be defensive. And even if he is, I get a lot of my HP back from any move he were to click against me, including close combat. He actually goes for the Taunt, which I find pretty weird because I'm oblivious, and Taunt would not have worked versus me. Anyways, I go for High Jump Kick, and I do a lot of damage, but this proves to be defensive because if he was an offensive set, I O-code him. So now he's going to go for the CC, and looking at his team, he doesn't have a clean switch into this thing. His best switching is the Dragonite, but his multi-skill gets broken. And then I go into my Licky, and I should be good to go. And he just stays in, and he does sack his Cobalance at a High Jump Kick. I do draw First Blood, which is best case scenario, as now he will. My useless taunt wears off since I'm Choice Scarf. He's gonna go into his Dragonite here, and I'm thinking he may overpredict here. Like my switch into my Bronzong was pretty obvious on like any Dragon move, and I felt like he was gonna overpredict here. So I'm gonna break the multi-skill here with the High Jump Kick. Hope he doesn't kill me here because this thing does a lot of work versus his team. And he actually does indeed click the Fire Punch, predicting my Bronzong, so I'm like, that's great. So not only do I get the free switch into my Licky, but if he does stay in, I'm going to be able to get a free Wish off on top of that, as long as I don't get crit or burned. He goes for the Fire Punch, does a lot of damage, a lot more than last time, but after leftovers, I cannot die. So I will go for the Wish here, and this will be the turn that he goes into his Volcanion, which I'm pretty sure, looking at his team, is 100% Specs. And since he is Specs, I will be able to go for Protect and scout what he's going to go for. But looking at my team, he has literally no reason to not click the magical Steam Eruption button, because not only is it powerful, but it has a 30% chance of burning my Uber Wall to this thing, which is my specially defensive Latios, because it does eat almost any hit from a Volcanion, make it a Specs Sludge Wave, etc. Specs HP, you name it. So I'm going to go into my Latios here. As he goes for Steam Eruption, does literally 0, does 29%. And after leftovers, I'm going to be able to eat any more Steam Eruptions, and since I have Roost, this thing is a pretty reliable switch-in. The only problem with this is that he does have a Drapion, and I'm 100% suspecting for this to be Pursuit, because my opponent last week did bring an AV Pursuit Spiritomb, and it blew back my Latios. So I'm just thinking that it would be common sense for him to also have a Pursuit AV Drapion, since it easily deals with any form of Latios, whether it be offensive of Earthquake. Even if I was DD with Earthquake, a +1 EQ will not kill a Drapion. So I have to double here, predicting the Drapion. I'm going to go into my Carly Rae Jepsen, I believe, or do I go to my Torterra? Okay, yeah, I go to my Torterra because Torterra, this spread is literally built to handle any form of Drapion, whether it be SD, AV, etc. But he actually does go into his Mega Dancy. And I do have the HP Ice, HP Steel on my Latios if I ever do want to predict the Mega Dancy switch. But I didn't want to pull the trigger because I felt like the Drapion was the most obvious switch. But I decided to not. I decided to make this play over the HP Steel play, which in this case would have been great. Anyways, he goes for Protect here to scout what I'm going to go for. I have EQ, Woodhammer, Toxic, and I believe Synthesis. Yeah, my Stealth Rocker is my Bronzong, so in all reality, Bronzong was my ideal wall. Anyways, he switches, and I will be able to break the multi-skill. I'm not clicking Woodhammer because his Cobalion, which was his real switch, his only real switch into this thing, is gone. And, well, not only is this thing's multi-skill broken, but a crit Woodhammer does 17%. I know I'm not invested, but Jesus Christ. I am a Torterra, and that did absolutely 0. And now I'm back at 0.1. So I'm like, okay, I have to find out what he's going to click here. I don't have Protected my Torterra. That probably would have been cool if I had it, because I'd be able to scout for a banded Dragonite, but I couldn't fit it on my set because I needed reliable recovery with Synthesis. I wanted Toxic for Pokemon such as, well, not Rhydon, but, this thing, so I could break multi-skill if it came down to it. But in all reality, Toxic was a really unreliable move. But, I had it for Zapdos, just in case I wanted to hit Zapdos with it on the easily predicted switch, but he didn't bring it. And as a result now, I am paying the price because Protect would have been huge right now. So now I have to think, is he going to click a Dragon move? Is he going to click a Fire move? Is he going to click something? So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go. I'm going to go to my Licky Licky, and at this point, I didn't think he would click a move called Superpower. This mean 9-letter word, and he is indeed going to click this Superpower, and this is banded. So yeah, this is that's going to absolutely destroy my Licky Licky. So this was a huge the turning point, because not only is it 5-5, but I lose my Cleric, and So if my Latios does ever get burned by Steam Eruption, not only will the burn stay, but my wall to Volcanion is going to get whittled down so easily that it's not even a wall anymore, and that is huge. That's absolutely huge, and not only that, I'm not going to be able to pass a wish onto my Bronzong, who is heavily weakened now. So my wall to Mega Dancy is pretty low, and I will never be able to get it up, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. So now I'm going to go to my Carly Rae Jepsen, because this puts automatic pressure on his team. I know he has a Rhydon, but I got to play it safe. There is a threat on the field, but guess what? I know he's going to switch because he's banded and he's -1, so there's no reason to stay in. That just wouldn't make any sense. And even if he did, I had a Lottie I could switch into. Anyways, I'm going to go to my U-turn. I'm going to go for U-turn, and I'm going to just switch into my Bronzong because I know he's not going to switch into Diancie on a Gyro Ball. But he does realize the opportunity that he has here, and he is going to go for his own Stealth Rock. I do have Defog on my Latios, but in all reality, I can't be going for Defog on a team where he has 2 Pokemon weak to rocks. Anyways, I go for Reflect, predicting any fire move that this thing might have for my Bronzong. And now he switches into his Volcanion, and now I'm going to go up to 56%. I just got to go to my Latios. I got to hope he doesn't burn me with the Steam Eruption. It's just his best play by far because it hits literally everything and probably murders everything after rocks. So I'm going to go to my Latios. It's not going to do too much. Steam Eruption only does around 27%, but he does get the burn, and this is what I'm talking about when I say losing my Cleric was absolutely huge because now I don't have a switch-in anymore. So now here's the predicament that I had. Oh shoot, my microphone. Come on, Mike, please work. Are you working now? Okay, I'm hoping you're working now. Hopefully it is. But yeah, now here's what I was thinking. The obvious switch into Mega Dynasty was pretty obvious on my Roost, and I had the HP Steel. I was thinking about clicking it, and I was like, it's not worth it. It really isn't, because he could easily stay in and not have to not eat a hit. So I'm thinking I have to click Roost. I wanted to click HP Steel so bad because the Mega Dynasty switch was so obvious. Like, it was right there on the top of my head. I had known it was coming in. And whoa. Wait, oh my gosh. I just spoiled a whole bunch of the match. RIP. Anyways, you'll see what I'm talking about later on because you'll see. Anyways, here comes the scenario I was talking about earlier. You'll see what I'm talking about with the HP Steel play. It's pretty complicated, but don't worry about that right now. Right now, there is a Dwayne Johnson on the field. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's buff, he's purple, and he probably has that magical button called Pursuit, and he's probably AV, especially since you'll see he doesn't have Black Sludge Recovery. So I'm like, okay, I have a Reflect Up. If he clicks Pursuit here, I 100% live it. But as you see, he doesn't click Pursuit. That is good. And I'm going to go to my Torterra. So he's obviously clicking Knockoff. That's his better play besides Pursuit. I'm going to lose my leftovers, but that's completely fine because this thing is really here to wall the Rhydon and the Drapion. And I could possibly even outspeed the Volcanion if he isn't speed invested, which I do go over in my team builder that I posted I don't know how long ago because I haven't had time to post this. Anyways, I predict the double in the Drapion into the Dragonite because he knows I cannot touch it with my moveset. So I'm going to go to my Carly Rae Jepsen. But this goes back to the point where I don't, like, do I click Double Edge or do I click U-turn? I was thinking maybe he would click E-speed so that way I would die on any other rock switching because I felt like that would be his better play. But he does realize that this is still a threat to my team and he could still take one more rock switching. But I was thinking maybe he would want to put me in range to where I would die on rocks. And I felt like that was his better play. But he does have Pokemon such as Mega Dance, which has threatened my team on its own, so he doesn't need to sack his Dragonite still. But I was thinking since he had Mega Dance, he doesn't need to sack Dragonite as well as the Volcanion. I felt like he was able to just sack this thing, didn't have to play any funny business. And as you'll see, he does make the switch, as I do go for the Double Edge. Could have easily gone for a U-turn or even close combat if I really wanted to, if I wanted to be real. But I don't do that. I click Double Edge and only do immediately 19%. And I'm banded. I got to switch. I'm going to go into my Torterra because it's just by far better. No, I'm not going to go with my Torterra. I'm going to go with my Bronzong, and he does predict my Torterra here. At least he does try. And he clicks the Ice Punch. So luckily I don't go into my Torterra because otherwise I could have gotten blown back by Ice Punch. But since I'm Levitate, unless he went for Fire Punch, he wasn't going to do anything to my Bronzong. Anyways, I'm gonna go for the Reflect here, predicting him to probably go into Dragonite, but he doesn't go into Dragonite. He goes back into this threat. And here comes a scenario where I'm talking about the HP Steel. I'm gonna go into my Latios here. Latios here is my only switching left on my team to Volcanion in general. I'm gonna take Starfog damage, and I'm gonna take an obvious Steam Eruption plus Burn. But he actually does go for the Sludge Wave, which is pretty interesting. If I stayed in, I probably would have done like 5% to this thing, but it's all good. Anyways, here's the scenario. Do I click Roost or do I click HP Steel? Long story short, I do end up clicking the Roost, and he will switch, and he doesn't even go into Drapion this time. He goes into the Mega Diancie, and I have HP Steel just for this scenario, but I didn't. I was in a point where I couldn't play Ballsy because if I lost any Pokemon, I lost the match, and it comes to this point where I can't switch into my Bronzong pretty easily, so I just sack this thing. Do I agree that was a misplay? I 100% agree that was a terrible play. I shouldn't have sacked my Latios because I easily could have still swapped into Volcanion as it continued to take more and more rocks. And I could have just continued clicking Roost, so it just pivoted around my Bronzong until my Bronzong just got whittled down by Mega Dance to the point where I just died. And as a result, I'm down 5-4, and I am looking terrible. I'm not looking good at all. So I'm thinking, what is my best switch into this thing? Is it my Bronzong? Is it my Blaziken? And I realized that I can't go into Blaziken because he does have the protect, and I go for high jump kick and I die. So I don't want that to happen. So as you'll see, I do go into I go to my Bronzong because it easily forces this thing to switch on my obvious Garble. So you know what? He does switch into the Dwayne Johnson, which is pretty sweet, pretty cool and dandy. But I do predict that it was pretty obvious. He was either going to go into his Dragonite or his Dwayne Johnson. He could have also gone into I guess Volcanion, which would have also been cool because I would have been able to get a pretty good juicy hit on anything. Now this is a pretty pivotal play. I'm thinking, do I click Close Combat or do I click Brave Bird? If I click Brave Bird and this thing stays in, I put it back to 4-4, and will look pretty even Steven, especially since from the looks of it, his Rhydon cannot touch my Bronzong. And if I make the right doubles and the right switches, I should be fine. But the only problem is that with the Stealth Rock up in the field and my Defogger gone, my Staraptor does not have many switches left. In fact, it has about one after this. Well, after I do switch on the Drapion. Anyways, I'm thinking he's gonna switch into his Rhydon. He's done that twice out of twice. What am I saying? He's done that 2 out of 2 times. I'm thinking he's gonna do it 3 out of 3. So I'm thinking Close Combat is just my better play because it does 2 KO a defensive Rhydon, especially after rocks. So I'm gonna go for the Close Combat. I'm gonna hope he switches, but as you'll see, he does stay in, and I do 50%, meaning Brave Bird or Double Edge would have easily OHKO'd. Well, not OHKO'd, but killed it from the range it was at. And he's going to kill me with knockoff because, minus defense and all that. And even without the defense drops, I would have gotten bopped. So now it's 3-5, and now the odds are looking really, really, really bad. So I'm going to go for Symphysis because if he does go for Poison Jab, I can easily take any more hits that he would choose to go for. I'm not sure if he has Ice Fang on this thing or not, but as you'll see, he gets the poison on the Poison Jab, which is unfortunate because now I don't live much of anything from anything at this point. So I'm like, I don't win by spamming Symphysis anymore, so I just gotta go for EQ. I killed the Dwayne Johnson. It makes it 4-3, which isn't a bad number, but when you look at my Pokemon and his Pokemon, you realize there's not really much I can do. And now he's gonna go into his Volcanion, the Ring of Fire. Shout out to Johnny Cash and and the Ring of Fire. And then the flames went higher, and by the flames I mean me and my soul, because I'm dying and I'm going up to heaven, baby. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I even do at this point? I gotta hope I outspeed, because I do have enough speed to outspeed a non-speed invested Volcanion, or at least a slightly not too much speed invested Volcanion. But if he is quite a bit of speed invested Volcanion, then I die basically. Anyways, I resume, and he does land a Fire Blast, which I guess he deserves. I don't want to force anything negative on Matt because he's been playing phenomenally so far. Anyways, I gotta go to my Blaziken and pick up my kill because anything he switches into will die. So he does choose to sack his Volcanion, which is 100% the best play you can do. Anyways, he goes into his Mega Diancie, and I didn't really think about Protect, but in all reality, it really didn't matter. And he clicked to Protect, and I of course clicked the high jump kick because I'm Choice Scarfed. If he didn't have Protect, I pretty much won the game. Actually, no, he had E-Speed, but he would have been forced to lock himself into E-Speed. And, well, no. Actually, let me explain something. If he didn't have Protect, which would have been dumb, which I'm not saying Matt is dumb, because obviously he did bring it, but if he didn't have Protect, let me explain something. If he didn't have Protect, he would go into his Dragonite, and he would just kill me with Banded E-Speed, and then he'd be able to just win the game with Rhydon/Dragonite, because he'd just be able to, sack his Bronzong, sack his Rhydon, unless I lived enough hits with a Reflect Up to the point where I can live a E-Speed from a Dragonite, Fire Punch from a Dragonite / HP Fire from a Mega Diancie. That would have been the scenario if he didn't have Protect, but of course he has it, and at that point I lose the game. Now, I could have easily made this a 2-0, but I decided to choke. I was thinking maybe he doesn't have HP Fire, and I will be able to live some hits from the Dragonite, but he just does that, and I don't know what I was thinking. The game was pretty much over. I lose a point of differential, which at this point I can't be doing. That was a terrible, terrible thing on my part. Not only I already got a 6-0 loss because of my poor sportsmanship versus Frank. So I lost about 3 points? 3 points of differential right there alone. And I lose one more point of differential. So at this point I have 4 points of differential that I shouldn't be losing. And that's that's really really biting me because with two straight losses, I'm in a tough spot as I am now. What 3-3? Yeah, this was week 6, so that was terrible. That was, I mean, that was a beautifully played match by Matt. Ever since he made that Mega Dancy trade, his team has just been performing phenomenally to the point where like his team can't be beat. Like as long as he makes the plays that he makes when he's on his game, it's absolutely unbelievable. It's a beautiful thing to watch because after starting 0-3, you can't help but go for Matt, even when you're up against him, and even when the odds are starting to go down on you, when you start losing matches, it's still beautiful to see somebody doing so good, so great, and phenomenal. And I do lose 3-0. Could have easily made it 2-0. And like I said, that kind of hurts. That bites like a lot. But you know what? It's all good. Matt played he played a beautiful game. I felt like I didn't. I felt like I played pretty well. I didn't make any I felt like I didn't make too many misplays until the very end, the game was already over. But I felt like the reason why I made that play was because I felt like he would not sack his Mega Dance into a gutter ball. That was also kind of my thinking, but but in all reality, his right arm probably didn't have coverage for me, like I said. So like gutter ball was just my by far better play. I don't know what I was making. Anyways, for week 7, I do play King, which is also another good friend of mine in the league because he's pretty chill. His picture is a Wolverine smoking a blunt, so how can he not like that? And not only can he not like that, but he got like his team. It's absolutely phenomenal. It has the best wall breaker in the game, known as Megalopony, because if built correctly, there is no wall to it. And yeah, speaking of Megalopony and walls, let me explain his team. He has Megalopony, Sylveon, Skarmory, Tyranitar, Houndoom, Swampert, Vileplume, Articuno, Rotom and his free agent, not free agent, his franchise pick. Yeah, his franchise pick. I've already made this mistake multiple times. Yeah, his franchise pick was Reuniclus, and you know his team is pretty bulky with the potential AV Reuniclus and the defensive Sylveon as a cleric, the Skarmory for his Steel Fairy core on its own. And then he has a beautiful dragon type with Tyranitar. It could be DD Scarf with Head Smash. And then he has the Megalopony. He has the Swampert, which, unless I have HP Grass or a Grass move on any of my Pokemon, is pretty hard to take down. And then he has, the rest of his threats. It's just crazy. And then I lose 2 in a row, and then I have another bad matchup because I don't have a lot of my team to break Skarm plus Vileplume. Or like Skarm plus Swampert plus Vileplume. That core is just unbreakable. Like, my team doesn't have a good job breaking it. My best Pokemon to break it is my Raichu, and that on its own cannot really do too well versus his team. But you know what? We'll try to pull out a win, and if I do lose, it will be the first time I ever go below 0.500 in a league because, well, at this point of the season, I'm always above 0.500. There's never a point where I've been below it. So you know what? We'll try to go 4-3. Worst case scenario, I don't, and I just got to win the rest of my last 3 games. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Whoops! I just knocked down some pictures. And anyways, I've been itch trainer Josh, and it's definitely unfortunate that I lost to Matt, but you can't help when somebody's on their A game, and not just their A game, their A plus game. Absolutely unbelievable. It was a great match. I can't complain, really. I mean, the burn on the Steam Eruption kind of sucked, but the superpower play just sealed the deal for him from there, really. And, the prediction on the close combat. So that's GG to Matt. And I do appreciate to you guys who've watched all 24 minutes of me talking about why I lost the Pokemon match. Yeah, anyways, I've been Trader Josh, and I'll be seeing you on my next video. So au revoir and peace.